only in the Philippines. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Mabuhay, that means welcome. My home country, the Philippines, is considered a poor country by Western standards. But do you believe that in a survey conducted by Gallup poll recently, Filipinos are considered the 5th happiest people in the world? Why is that? You might wonder. Well, Filipinos find happiness and contentment among their extended family. That's why they like to make babies. But I'm the exception. I only limit myself to 2. There are 100 million Filipinos in the planet. And every year, they add 1.5 million babies to their population. It's even bigger than the population of the entire Auckland. It's scary, isn't it? Philippines is also the only Catholic nation in Asia, and they take their religion very seriously. Filipinos like to go to church every Sunday. And but I'm the exception too. I don't go to church. And even criminals or crooked politicians like Imelda Marcos, who will be committing sins 6 days a week, they will go to church on Sunday and pray for forgiveness. And the funny thing is, they believe that they'll go to heaven. Hundreds of years ago, when the Spaniards conquered the Philippines, they had 3 objectives: gold, glory, and God. The Spanish soldiers got the gold. The Queen of Spain got the glory. But the poor Filipinos were left with God. Spaniards conquered or occupied the Philippines for 300 years. But they didn't do much for the people except converting them to the Catholic religion. Then came the Americans. They did a bit better. They introduced the American English and, most importantly, Hollywood. No wonder some foreigners observe that Filipinos have an identity crisis. They don't know whether they are the East or the West. But won't you be confused if you spend 300 years in the convent and suddenly you follow yourself by being exposed to Hollywood? It's like being a virgin for 300 years, and then when you wake up, you become Madonna. If you ever go to the Philippines, make sure that you familiarize yourself with some common custom and habit of the Filipinos. Otherwise, you could get into trouble. For example, do you believe that Filipinos can communicate with their eyebrows and their eyes? If you ask a Filipino, do you believe in God? Instead of saying yes or no, he would say, or that means yes. If he wants to say no, he would say like that. But if you are a man and you're talking to a woman, Filipino woman, and she does this or like that, be careful. Don't think that it is an invitation for a good time. You might end up in a shotgun marriage. In the Philippines, when you ask people for direction, they don't use your finger to point direction. Instead, they use their lips. So you ask a Filipino, "Where's the toilet?" He would do this. If it is very far, if it is near, like that. I don't know why, but you know, maybe they think that by doing that, it's more sexy to use the lip than use the finger. And even better if it's done by a woman. One of the strangest habits of Filipinos is when they want to go through a crowd, they will do this. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. I always wonder why, until somebody told me that the reason for this is many years ago, there was this popular Hollywood movie called The Ten Commandments. And in one of those scenes, Moses, played by Charlton Heston, stood in front of the Red Sea with his people. And they want to cross because they were being pursued by their enemies. So Moses did this. And the sea opened up. So Moses and his people went through. And hundreds of thousands of Filipinos saw that movies. And they thought it was a miracle. So when now they want to go through a crowd, and they thought that would let them part through the sea of humanity. So there you are, fellow Toastmasters. Only in the Philippines. We're a bunch of funny people with quirky and strange habits, but that makes us also one of the happiest people in the world. Contest chair.